Welcome to the next module of the email list building course. My name is Bob the teacher, the marketing educator here at LeadPages, and I'm excited to bring to you today our head of marketing automation, Chris Davis, who's going to be talking and sharing with us a little bit about the sliced bread system and some other email strategies that will help you ramp up your list building and get more people to purchase from you. So Chris, welcome to this part of the course.
Yes, thanks for having me, Bob. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, speaking of excitement, I would love to know what gets you excited about marketing automation.
Oh man, it's a lot. I would say if I was to boil it down to one thing, it would be that it's a new space, a new necessary space, especially for business owners that want to leverage digital marketing. And with any new space, it just leaves it wide open for education. And it puts me in a position to properly educate people on how to utilize it and implement it for their success. So super exciting.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And I love how good you are not only at doing the marketing automation, but also teaching it. You know, you're part of our office hours program.
Yeah.
People with their questions all the time. So
Yep.
You're the head of marketing automation at LeadPages. What does that mean then that you're actually doing on a daily basis?
Yeah, when you, it's funny because if you do a search right now on the net of what is marketing automation, you'll get maybe 4 good replies. And I'm talking about in the whole world wide web of things. And when I look at marketing automation, it's the ability to take software and use it to implement, maintain, and update your digital marketing strategy. Mm-hmm. So essentially that defines what I do. I'm responsible for maintaining a team that builds our entire follow-up system, our follow-up strategy, and execute it. So when someone downloads a template, when they register for a webinar, there's an entire follow-up strategy that we're implementing that, of course, us as a team collectively, the marketing team, come up with to ensure that that path from stranger to visitor to lead to customer is not like this rough, weird, unnatural occurrence. So.
And we've been pretty successful at it, I would say.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Having been able to grow over 35,000 customers.
Yes.
Well into the 6 figures of
Yep.
the email marketing contacts.
Yep.
So
Yep.
fantastic, nice job.
Yeah.
So
Appreciate it.
marketing automation, as you mentioned, is not really well understood. You know, people can get it right or they can get it woefully wrong.
Yeah.
We recently
Yeah.
had a mastermind event where you shared some cool ideas around this topic, which we're going to be sharing today. But one of the things really caught my eye is the idea of automating too soon. Talk to us a little bit about when it's the right time to automate and when should you not quite pull that trigger.
Yeah, the most common misnomer that people, I don't know where they get it from. I just think it's, of course, new marketing automation is new and people aren't teaching accurately. But they look at marketing automation as the savior to their business. So this is not uncommon, right? You have an idea and you're gung-ho, oh yeah, I got a great idea, I'm gonna serve the world, and you start to do stuff. And then when stuff isn't working, you're looking for that fish line, like help, or the life preserver, like help. And most of the time it's automation because it's the idea of something happening and money coming in without you doing anything. I think it's pretty much everybody's dream, right? You've got people in a cubicle.
It's an exciting idea, man.
Right. From the cubicle to the entrepreneur, this idea that, wait a minute, money can magically come into my account without me doing anything. So that excitement is often misplaced. And before they sit down and actually come up with a strategy, test their idea with that strategy and actually become profitable, they decide to jump into marketing or to implement marketing automation. And it's the exact opposite. You should take your idea, test it, make sure it's proven. And I always say you prove an idea by profit. So if you make some money, it doesn't matter what amount, but you then have a proven system. Now let's talk about automating it. Yes.
Got it. So if you automate too fast, you're automating mistakes, right?
Yes.
If you're not careful, if you're not paying attention
Yes,
to it.
and remember, automation does not discriminate. So it's going to put whatever you're doing in front of everybody. So if you don't know what you're doing and then you automate what you don't know that you're doing, now more people know that you don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
What
So
you do,
the worst thing you can do with a marketing mistake is scale it.
right.
With
right,
automation.
Right, absolutely.
Fantastic. Cool. So, the secret to our success here at Lead Pages is a combination of a very artful follow-up sequence combined
Yes.
with, good promotions and then webinars.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about the idea of how you get folks converted from that lead into a buyer.
Yeah.
As far as our follow-up sequence is concerned.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing, Bob, is consistency. Not only the consistency as far as design. A lot of people love Facebook ads. Like your previous course is actually one of our top downloaded courses to date.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about that, they're going from Facebook, they see this ad, and then they land on a landing page. So of course the design should be consistent as well as the language. So if you're offering A, when they get to your page, you should be giving them A. But it's amazing that a lot of people don't connect that with their follow-up and then to their product. So that entire process should really be one consistent goal, one consistent language, and one consistent process. And the reason why a lot of people make this mistake is because they start with the lead magnet. They come up with, how can I get people's email addresses, right? Instead of, what can I give? And when you think about what can I give, it helps you to focus on the product first. So if I focus on the product and then realize, okay, this is my product, this is how I want to serve the world or my customer, or my avatar. And then from there work backwards. It's a lot easier to be consistent, and that's what we do with every single follow-up system that we put in place.
That's awesome. And you have a great metaphor for this in the sliced bread system, which we're going to get to in a second. I know
Yes.
you're excited about sharing it. But before we do that, I think it's really important to set the reason why this is so important.
Yep.
So you have in front of you a dashboard of the percentage of people who join Lead Pages after a certain amount of time.
Yes.
And surprisingly enough, people don't all join within the first week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So talk to us about this dashboard and what surprises you about our customer base and the importance of follow-up.
Yeah, definitely. So I would look at Lead Pages as a more established brand, right? Especially amongst entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, or online marketers. So with that, if anybody can have an expectation that come to my website and purchase, it should be us, right? But it's not the case, and that's why I love measuring your marketing efficiency. And what we found by the dashboard numbers are that 50% of our customers convert from either stranger to website visitor to a customer in the first 4 weeks. So with no follow-up strategy in place, that's half of our customers that we would not have to this date. And what's interesting is if I go all the way out, and if we look at probably about 75% of our customers come 3 months out. So so we're nurturing you for, now granted, of course, we have a sequence that goes far beyond, 1 month, 2 months or whatnot.
Right.
So the idea that you're not expecting somebody to do everything up front, it actually helps your marketing to flow a lot more naturally. And then on the prospect side, it doesn't seem as aggressive. Like, do this, I need. You don't seem desperate.
Right.
So we understand that dynamic, and we're okay with that. So we rely. Our webinars are great, our lead magnets and our courses are great, but we really do rely on our follow-up strategy to make that purchase decision or that decision to buy a lot easier for the visitors.
Yeah, and I think that's such an important point. Don't wait. Don't expect everything to happen in the first couple of weeks. It's great if it does, right? Like we're
Right.
always testing this and trying to move the numbers
Absolutely.
up. We're trying to get them to join sooner.
Yeah.
But we're talking 25 weeks out is the duration it takes for that last customer
Yeah.
who signed up
Yep.
for a free thing to join.
Yep.
Right? That's half a year. And most
half a
people's
year.
follow-up sequences are for 2 days.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Then
Which
it's
is-
newsletters or something, right?
Exactly. All right, so now let's talk about this idea of the sliced bread system that you've got in place for marketing. It's really a cool concept to really ground what's actually happening. And you mentioned
Yeah.
starting with your product first instead of with your lead magnet. So walk us
Yeah.
through the loaf, the slice, the crumbs, like all this stuff that
Yeah,
makes this
yeah.
worthwhile.
I'm super excited about this one because as of this date, we haven't recorded the official webinar for it. So this is like a sneak peek. But the idea came because there's just a lot of confusion when it comes to build a funnel, and then be like, what do I put in the funnel? So I found that if you can break some of these complex ideas down to something a little more tangible, that people can easily adapt to the technology that makes it very easy. Of course, Lead Pages. So if we think of our product as a loaf of bread, if you want to sell somebody a loaf of bread, it's like when you go to the grocery store and they have those stands where they're giving out samples. I look at that and it's like, in my brain, I'm like, look at those lead magnets. Look at those lead magnets. And then if you like the sample, they say, here's the box in aisle 6, right? So it's kind of that same idea, is that you have this loaf of bread and you're going to take a slice of that loaf of bread, and you have to be willing to give it away for free. Don't get caught up on, but I want them to pay for the whole loaf. I don't want to give anything for free. Give them your best slice, not the butt end, your best slice of the bread away for free. And when you do that, when you take the slice out, there'll be a breadcrumbs trail. And essentially your breadcrumbs trail is what we're talking about as far as the follow-up system. So if they consume the bread and they like it and they have a trail to the loaf, they're more prone to buy the loaf of bread.
Awesome. So I like that. It's just so simple. And one of the things you mentioned before is people focused on the lead magnet first, right? Before they consider the product.
Yep.
So to me, it seems like that's like putting out a sample of tofu, and then wanting to buy a loaf of bread,
right.
And they're not going to be connected.
Yeah, and you lose either way. You could have really great tofu and really good bread.
Yeah.
But since there's no consistency in strategy that really ties the two in, you'll lose. And that's, if anything, that's what I hate to see the most. That's why I like on office hours for our enterprise customers, where they can actually call in and we help them, and I see them making this mistake. It's like like the inside of me is like, yes, another one saved. But it makes things flow so much easier. If you have your product, you understand all the benefits and all of the features of your product, it makes, when it's time to pull out your lead magnet, it makes writing the copy for that landing page, it makes writing the email follow-up sequence, everything is much simpler, and it's a lot more, it just flows a lot better. So
excellent. So let's talk more about those breadcrumbs and the idea of automating a follow-up sequence that actually converts people into customers.
Yes. Yes.
What are some things to look out for? What are some things to just nail and get right?
Yeah. So there's kind of two sequences that I look at. It's your nurture sequence and then your long-term nurture sequence. Now, your nurture sequences are directly, they're delivered immediately when someone takes action on your website and or landing page. So these are essentially the sequences that we're talking about within the first 4 weeks, are these nurture sequences. And when someone opts in, they are immediately activated into those sequences. Now, as you mentioned, we go out to 25 weeks, right? So there's a long-term nurture sequence as well. Now, this is well thought out. This is not just a bunch of emails that we're sending just to say we're sending out emails. But the idea is we understand our marketing machine, and we understand that there's so much going on in lead pages that the goal of our long-term nurture sequence is, yes, to convert you to attend a webinar, to purchase lead pages, but it's also to continually educate and provide a means for us to keep giving, so that when we do run a promotion or when we do have a new webinar coming up, you're that much more prone to actually attend it. So one of the strategies that we really like to do here is, if you're in the long-term nurture sequence, so if I were to prioritize them, I always say the immediate nurture is greater. If someone's in the immediate nurture, I don't want to be sending them any other emails. I want them singularly focused on what they opted in for in that follow-up sequence. So we implement what's called a pause and resume sequence on our long-term nurture. So if you've come into our funnel, for instance, let's say you've downloaded a template. You downloaded a template, and we're nurturing you, and you finish that. and then you're in our long-term nurture sequence, which is just educational. And then maybe they come across your course, say, oh, I want to check this out. So now they go and opt in for your course. At that point, I'm going to stop sending them those long-term nurture emails, okay? And I'm going to give them the opportunity to focus singularly on your course in that follow-up sequence.
Yeah. So talk about why that's so important.
Yes, yes. It's, I can't remember where I heard it, but it stuck with me. And somebody said, confusion doesn't convert. And if there's too much going on, they're getting these educational emails and then they're reading about your course or whatever other resource they downloaded. They just don't know what to do. They can want to do something, but then you've introduced analysis paralysis, where it's just like, there's so many, which one? So if you can keep, and this is really critical, if you can keep your call to action singular through your entire website and follow-up sequence, you will see the highest conversion rates to customers as any other business out there. So
fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about getting people on webinars. So we know for sure webinars convert the best for us.
Yes.
If you rank everything in order, we obviously have a good webinar course that lays out the system.
Yep.
But in the nurturing sequence, and we're automating this, how are we inviting people to webinars so that they're on that kind of a call to convert?
Yeah, with webinars, reminders are everything. Oh my goodness, reminders and clarity. So in our webinar sequence, you have the date and time and title to the webinar everywhere. You cannot opt in for one of our webinars without the date, time, and title. So you opt in, and we're using GoToWebinar for our webinars at the moment. And you're going to get an automatic confirmation from GoToWebinar with the date, the time, and the title, in that one. But we go a step further and don't solely rely on GoToWebinar, because they can have issues or whatnot. So we send it from our internal marketing automation platform as well, with the date, the time, and the title. So it's important because it trains them that, oh yeah, this date, this time, I'm going here. And then on our thank you pages, our lead page thank you page allows them to add the event to their calendar, as well as the GoToWebinar reminder allows them to add the event to the calendar. And as if that's enough, of course, we send reminders as well. So the reminders, as far as the frequency, is not as important as just make sure that you're sending a reminder, at least the day before and at least 15 minutes before the webinar. And I like the trick that you brought up at the mastermind about changing the title. What was that one?
Change it up to starting now.
Yeah.
Right before, and then obviously send the notice to all participants. It's a good email strategy for it.
And it gives you a free email outside of your autoresponder, going into GoToWebinar and changing the title. And then it just serves as a really good reminder, because the biggest thing that you want is if somebody's registered, so the singular call to action on the registration page is to register. And then the call to action immediately changes to attend. That's it. That's what you want them to do. So you need to provide them crumbs, a way for them to make sure that they do attend, and that's in our follow-up sequence.
Yeah.
So, and that's pre-webinar.
And then another thing we do is we invite people to join that webinar in the first place through our nurturing sequence. So every message has, join us for this week's webinar.
Yep. And along with that, Clay's been preaching this forever, and it continues to hold true to this day, is that on the thank you page of every single opt-in, well, I won't say every single, but all of our web-based opt-ins and lead magnets, right on that thank you page, we give you the opportunity to register for a webinar. So, and it's important too, because people really like our webinars.
They're really solid.
I'm biased, but I would say that we do. We have the best webinars out there with the best landing page platform out there for conversions. And it is not uncommon for me to look into our database and see somebody attend multiple webinars before they buy and become a customer and still attend the webinars that everybody else is attending. So that's just a testament to how effective, how meaty they are, and how good they are.
Yeah, Tim Page, our conversion educator, really rocks those.
Yeah, he does.
Awesome. All right, my last question for you that I have prepared is tell me just a little bit more about the idea of making people make that decision, whether it's a yes or a no. But like in the follow-up sequence, in promotional sequences that we do, what kind of elements are you making sure are in our emails that make them say yes or no? It's time to buy, or it's time to say it's not for me.
Yeah. So I have an approach to email follow-up and marketing automation that is really analytics driven. So there's two ways a person can tell me what they like, what they want, and what they're ready for. They can physically tell me or tell me through an email, or I can watch their actions. I prefer to watch their actions, not in a big stalker, big brother-ish type way, but a lot of times, well, I shouldn't say a lot of times, all of our sequences are really set up on behaviors. So if somebody is in a particular sequence and they click a link or they opt in somewhere else, that's giving me information about them that's educating me on how to pitch to them. So it's not that I'm necessarily, of course, manually doing this, but I'm mapping out my entire sequences to understand. So if somebody has downloaded a template and gone to a Facebook course, to me, it's like, you're interested in our templates and you're interested in Facebook ads. We do have a Facebook ads webinar coming up. And if I'm able to put that offer in front of them, their decision-making process is gonna be faster and easier than anybody else in my funnel. And with respect to if I was kind of treating everybody the same. So I don't treat everybody the same, and I use their actions to tell me how to treat them.
Cool. So I said before that was my last question. I do have one last question.
All right, go for it.
Lead links. I would be remiss to not ask you about lead links because it's such a cool, powerful tool within the Lead Pages system that folks, usually forget that it's there.
Absolutely.
But our pro and advanced level members get access to lead links, and that, obviously is a list nurturing process. So, what would be a good instance in your mind for when to use lead links to help with the list building and nurturing? Yeah,
I'll give you an example. And as I'm saying this, people can see this in action right now. So we talked about pre-webinar follow-up, where there's an entire post-webinar follow-up that is very critical that you have in place as well. And part of our post-webinar follow-up is the idea that I know on Thursday I'm running a webinar again on Friday. This is a fact. So if you've registered for Thursday and you did not purchase, I'm going to give you the opportunity to register for Fridays, to catch Friday's webinar. Now, you've already visited the landing page. You've already given me your email address. So I don't want to put you through that work again. You've already made the commitment. So for whatever reason, you weren't able to act on it, or perhaps you needed to see it again to kind of really understand what Lead Pages does. So in our post-webinar follow-up, I'll have a lead link that says, hey, here's your invitation to Friday's Encore, or here's another chance. And once they click that link, they're automatically registered for GoToWebinar. They get the reminders, and now I don't have to worry that about them getting the proper communication to get on the webinar.
Right.
And it is that lead link itself drives about 30% of our Friday registrants.
Wow.
So that's 30% of people on the webinar that we would not have if we weren't using the lead link. So.
And you're making it so much easier for them to say yes. They don't have to go see another page, fill out more information. They're just making that click. And then the importance of the communication is making sure that thank you page says you're all set. You don't need to do anything else.
Absolutely. Yeah, because that's a good point, Bob. When they click the link, they will get a thank you page. Yeah. So it's not that they click the link and like something magic happens in the background. That's it. Magic is happening.
Yes.
But you want to capitalize on that thank you page to reiterate exactly what's happening and what they just did.
Fantastic. Very cool. Is there any question that I didn't ask you or any last thought you want to share with our course students today before we wrap up this module?
Bob, I'm a strong advocate of understanding what you want to do before you get in the tool. It's so tempting. I know it, and I have to discipline myself at times because I can see it visually and let me just jump in the tool. But it's kind of like building a house. If people could liken the entire process of building a marketing system for your business, it is like a house. And you're not going to go to a builder and tell them what they need as you think of it. You really want a blueprint. And when things are wrong, it's easier to solve on the blueprint than it is to kind of start fumbling around in the house and knocking on doors. Is this hollow, or is this a load-bearing wall or not? So I'm an advocate of like you, mind mapping. Mind mapping your ideas out just so you can kind of see what you're trying to do. And then I go immediately from mind map to flowchart. Flowcharts are my blueprints for every single funnel that I build, so that when it comes time to implement in the actual platform, it's a matter of, I already know what I want to do, I already know how I want to do it, and it's just a matter of building it. So I can't advocate that process enough.
Well, thank you, Chris Davis, Head of Marketing Automation here,
Yes.
for your wisdom.
You're very welcome.
Really appreciate the education you shared today. And for you watching, I hope that you enjoyed this as well. Please leave a comment at the bottom of this page with what you picked up, and most importantly, take action on what you learned and start to test out your ideas and then automate the things that are working in a way that's going to leverage your business and get the rewards that you're looking for. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next module. And of course, if you'd like to join us here at Lead Pages as a new member, new customer, you can do so by going to leadpages.net/next-step. And if you join us at the advanced level, you can join us for group coaching every week. And at least once a month, if not twice a month, Chris Davis is there to answer your questions on an ongoing basis. So I'll see you in the next module.